Hello everyone, welcome back to Zen Zone Yoga. I want to apologize in advance for the traffic noises. I will be addressing that soon. I am just waiting on a microphone to come in the mail. So, that being said, today is a basic level class. We are going to be learning how to do bow pose. So let me just demonstrate what that looks like real fast. So that is bow pose. So as you can see, the actions we're going to be focusing on are back bending, grabbing onto the ankles, right? And pulling our bodies long. There's no balancing involved. There's no need for props. So when you're ready, just come to your mat in an easy seated position. So, once you're seated, bring your hands to your heart in Anjali Mudra. Close your eyes. Today we're going to be focusing on opening your chest, opening your heart center. So we're going to welcome in this practice. We're going to be open to learning new things. Open to whatever life brings us. Take a couple deep breaths. Open your eyes. And pivot yourself on your mat so you're seated with your legs straight out in front of you. We're going to start with a seated forward fold. So bring your arms straight up and bend down over your toes as far as you can get. It can be this far or it can be all the way down, doesn't matter. Fold over your legs. Come back up. We're going to do a seated spinal twist. So take your right foot, plant your foot in outside of your left knee, hook your left elbow outside of your right knee, and twist. Come back to center. We're going to do the other leg. So put your left foot outside of your right knee, hook your right elbow outside of your left knee, and twist. Come back to neutral. Plant your fingertips behind your back and push them into the ground to lift up your chest. Lift your chin up to the air and do a slight back bend. Now bring your arms up over your head and reach forward into a forward fold. Come back up. Now pivot your body around so you're on your hands and knees in a tabletop position. Knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. We're going to do cat-cow. So, breathe in, drop your belly to the mat, and chin up to the sky for cow. Breathe out, raise your back up, arch your back, and drop your chin like a cat for cat pose. Breathe in, cow. We're really looking for that arch in the back. Breathe out, cat. One more time, cow. and out, cat. From here, walk your hands out a little bit in front of you and your knees a little bit behind you. Tuck your toes underneath and push your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Now focus on lengthening the spine. If that means you need to give your knees a little bit of a bend, that's okay. We're really just looking for length in the spine in this downward dog. Now bring your right foot up between your hands. Drop your left knee down to the mat. Untuck your toes. And come up to a crescent lunge. You can keep your hands on your knee, or you can bring them all the way up. Through this pose, we're getting length through the whole back of your body, all the way down to your leg. Plant your hands down around your front foot, tuck your back toes, and step back into downward facing dog. Now bring your left foot up between your hands, drop your right knee down, untuck your toes, and come up to a crescent lunge. Grab your hands down to the mat, untuck your back toes, and step your left foot back, downward facing dog. Now walk to the front of your mat, land in forward fold, Uttanasana. Now stand up all the way to Urdhva Hastasana with a slight back bend. Then back down into a forward fold, Uttanasana. And halfway up onto your fingertips. Or to keep a straight spine better, you can put your hands on your shins. And step your right foot back down into a downward facing dog. From here, we're going to roll our bodies forward into a high plank position. And then roll up to the tops of your tippy toes and lower your body straight down to the ground. Untuck your toes, push up with your hands into cobra. Breathe in. Tuck your toes, hips up and back into downward dog. Breathe out. Now look forward and walk to the front of your mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Come all the way up to Urdhva Hastasana, slight back bend. Drop back down to the mat to Uttanasana. Breathe out. Breathe in halfway up on your fingertips or your shins. Step your left foot back into downward facing dog. Breathe out. Breathe in, roll forward to plank pose. Breathe out, roll forward, and lower yourself down all the way to the mat. Untuck your toes, push your hands up into a cobra position and breathe in. Tuck your toes and send your hips up and back into a downward facing dog. Breathe out. Now look forward and walk to the front of your mat. That was one round of sun salutations, what we just did, both sides. So we're going to do one more round of sun salutations. So, bring your arms up to Urdhva Hastasana. Breathe in. Breathe out, down to Uttanasana. Breathe in, halfway. Tap your hands down to the mat. Step back with your right foot into downward dog. Breathe out. Roll your body forward into plank. Breathe in. Roll forward even more. Lower all the way down. Breathe out. Untuck your toes. Push up into your hands into cobra. Breathe in. Tuck your toes, send your hips up and back into downward dog. Breathe out. Last round of sun salutations. Look forward and walk to the front of your mat, landing in a forward fold Uttanasana. Breathe out. Come all the way up, arms overhead, slight back bend to Urdhva Hastasana. Breathe in. Bend at the hips all the way down to your mat to Uttanasana. Breathe out. Halfway. Breathe in. Plant your hands, step back with your left foot into downward facing dog. Breathe out. Roll your body forward into plank. Breathe in. Roll forward even more. Lower all the way down. Breathe out. Untuck your toes. Push up with your hands into cobra. Breathe in. Tuck your toes. Push into your hands. Push your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Breathe out. Now we're going to change it up a little bit. So take your right foot, raise it up into the air for three-legged dog. And just hold it here for a minute. Feel if that feels comfortable. Then bring your same right leg that's up in the air forward. Land in between your hands. Pivot your back foot so that it lands parallel with the back of your mat. Stand up. Arms out to a T so your hips are nice and open. And gaze towards your right fingertips for warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down around your front foot. Pivot your back foot back on your toes and step your right foot back into downward facing dog. We're going to do the same thing on the left side. So left leg up, three-legged dog. Breathe here, get comfortable, find your balance. Send your left leg that's in the air up and in between your hands at the front of the mat. Plant your back foot. Make sure it's parallel with the back of your mat. And come up to warrior two. Arms in a T. Gaze towards your left fingertips. Cartwheel your hands back down around your front foot. Pivot your left foot so you're on your toes. Step your right foot, Step your left foot back into downward facing dog. And breathe here for a minute. Bring your right foot up in the air, three-legged dog. Bring your right foot between your front hands, between your hands. Plant your left foot parallel with the back of your mat and come on up to warrior two. Now we're going to flip our right hand palm up. Plant your left hand on your left thigh and lean back over your left leg. This is reverse warrior. Now to come out of it, we'll just come back to warrior two, arms in a T. Cartwheel your hands down around your front foot. Pivot that back foot and step back into downward facing dog. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to switch ends of my mat so that you can see the front of my body and hear me talking. Left leg up into three-legged dog. Send that left foot between your hands. I did it again. Parallel your back foot with the back of your mat. Come up to warrior two. Flip your left hand palm up. Right hand on your back thigh. Up and over your head to reverse warrior. Now come back into warrior two. Arms out in a T. Cartwheel your hands down around your front foot and step back into downward facing dog. Your body should be starting to warm up nicely now. Bring your right foot up into three-legged dog. Send your right foot between your hands. Plant your back foot parallel with the back of your mat. Oh, now I'm back to you again. Warrior two. Flip your right hand palm up. Plant your left hand on your thigh. Up and over for reverse warrior. Come back into warrior two. Now this time, we're going to pivot our back foot so that it's at about 45 degrees to your front foot. Send your pelvis forward, straight in line with your legs, and sink that front leg down to a 90-degree angle for warrior one. Now, plant your hands down around your front foot and step back into downward facing dog. Bring your left leg up into three-legged dog. Plant your left foot between your hands. Plant that back foot parallel with your mat. Arms in a T, warrior two. Flip your left hand palm up. Plant your right palm on your right thigh. Lean up and over into reverse warrior. Now come back, face forward. Put that back foot at a 45-degree angle. Sink that right leg down into a 90-degree angle. Warrior one. Now plant your hands down around your front foot and step back into downward facing dog. And just breathe here for a minute. Catch your breath. Bring yourself back to center. Now look forward. Walk to the front of your mat. Land in Uttanasana, forward fold. Let gravity pull you down. And just feel yourself sink into the ground. Now come stand up in Tadasana, or mountain pose. So root through your feet into the ground, palms forward. Now send your arms up over your head into Urdhva Hastasana. But we're going to really focus on bending with our upper backs. So just slight back bend, chin up, go as far as you can go, and breathe. Come back up to Tadasana. Now we're going to do chair pose. So this pose bends you at the hips, the knees, and the ankles. So we're going to send our arms up over our heads. We're going to bend the knees. We're going to also bend the hips. And hold here. Try to engage your core to keep you upright. Back up to stand, Tadasana. Lower down, forward fold, Uttanasana. Now come down to your hands and knees. Spread your knees wide. Touch your big toes together. Sit your hips over your heels. And use your fingertips to pull you forward all the way down to the mat in a child's pose. Rest your forehead on the mat. Now come back up to your knees, cinch those knees together. We're going to sit up straight. Knees and tops of the feet on the ground, but the rest of our body is in a nice straight line. What we're going to do here is reach one hand at a time back towards our heels. If you can't make it, that's okay. You can put your hands on your upper back like this and use that to start the bending process like this, or one heel at a time and bend, chin up to the sky. This is called camel pose. Come back up to sit on your heels. Reach your arms up to the sky and breathe. Now we're going to come down to our bellies on the mat. And here's where we're going to learn bow pose. So bend your knees. So you're kind of kicking your feet up like a kid laying on the ground. And then you can keep your knees about hip width apart. One at a time, reach your arms back to grab onto your foot, your ankle, your toes, or you can just reach back if you can't quite reach. One arm at a time. And when you're in this position, ready to go, we're going to lift with our quads. We're going to engage the knees. We're going to play a tug of war with ourselves. So we're using our feet to pull our arms away as though we're trying to rip our feet out of our own hands. And then we're going to lift. You'll find that will automatically lift your chest like this. So then we're going to also engage the core to lift even more. So when you're ready, pull your feet against your hands. Tighten every muscle in the body into bow pose. And release yourself back down to the mat. That felt good, huh? Now, go ahead and let go of your feet. Drop your feet down to the mat. Put your forearms and palms on the mat. And come up into Sphinx. Try to keep the legs engaged. And just breathe here for a minute as we start our cool down. Now come back onto your knees. This time we're going to keep our knees cinched together. Sit back on your heels. Walk your fingertips forward into a child's pose. And breathe. Now come back up. We're going to lay down on our backs on the mat, keeping our knees bent. We'll bring both of your knees into your chest and just tug your arms around them, kind of rock side to side, massage your lumbar spine. Now go ahead and drop your knees to the right, all the way down to the ground. Use your right arm to hold your knees down. Reach your left arm out into a T. Look towards your left fingertips into a supine twist. Now bring your knees back up to neutral. Drop them down to the left side. Use your left arm to hold them down. Right arm out into a T. Look towards your right fingertips for another supine twist. center, one at a time. We're going to extend our legs all the way out as we come into Shavasana. Palms up. Try to tuck your shoulder blades underneath you a little bit and close your eyes to come into our final relaxation. Now as we lay here, let's remember what made you come here today and thank yourselves for being open to this practice, for being open to trying new things. And just knowing that the more we practice, the better we'll get. Perfection is not what we're looking for. Yoga is a practice. It's always ongoing learning. So just thank your body and yourself for joining me here. Let's take a few deep breaths together. Now breathe normally. Keep your eyes closed. And we'll come into a couple minutes of silence. Silent meditation. Choose to stay here longer, or if you're ready, bring your awareness back into your body by wiggling your fingers and toes. Bring your arms up over your head. Bring your knees up one at a time and just roll over to one side. And sit up nice and slowly into a comfortable seated position with your palms in front of you in prayer, in Anjali Mudra. Bow your chin to your chest, sealing in this wonderful practice. Gently open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the mat. I hope to see you again soon. I will be coming out with an entire beginner level series, so please follow my channel for more content. Thank you so much. Namaste.